Dear friends, I've just handed in my COE application. Many of you have asked me why I entered the presidential contest. You remember I entered the contest early. In fact, I was the very first to enter the contest. I wanted to make sure there will be no more walkovers for any endorsed candidate. And I wanted to make sure that there will be an elected presidency contest. As many Singaporeans wasn't sure what a presidential contest is. In fact, many of them thought that the president was appointed by the government. Therefore, I think it is important that Singaporeans be given a chance to have a choice of the contestants coming to contest in this presidential election contest. Now, today this press conference is not about what I can do or will do as a president. Now, this is because I'm not a candidate yet. So, not being a candidate, I better don't say things that a candidate should say. Now, this is also our respect for my other contestants and also for the election guidelines that was given to us. Instead, I will use this press conference for Singaporeans to find out why I want to be the next president. Do I have those special qualities that Singaporeans are looking for in a president? I think people want to know whether the president feels for them and empathizes with them. They want to know if they can trust him to put the nation above politics, to look after their money, and to make special appointments of top civil servants whose policies will affect their lives. Now, he must be able to make good and wise decisions without fear or favor. Now, to do that, people want a president they can trust. Now, trust must be earned. You cannot just say, trust me. You have to earn it. So today I will share with you what I did to win the trust of my friends in Ayer Rajah, that's my old constituency, where I served for 26 years. And many of my friends in Ayer Rajah trust me. So also many older Singaporeans trust me when I was Member of Parliament over that 26 years period. I believe a president must understand the struggles and concerns of the ordinary people. Now, working as a doctor amongst the poor in a village called Amaking, I fully understand them. I understood their needs and concerns. So I entered politics to be a voice of the people. People believe and trusted in me to look after their interests without fear or favor. They showed their trust in me by giving me their overwhelming support over 6 general elections with an average of 77% and a final send-off in 2001 general election with an 88% victory. I've always been a people's person. And like many of you here, I love this country and the people. In my 26 years in Parliament, I've always stood up for Singaporeans because I felt for them, their worries, their fears, and their frustrations. Thus, I stood up for Singaporeans against streaming of students in 1980s. You know, that time, at that period, students were all streamed to many, many different streams. Because I feared it would create class divisions in Singapore and divide Singapore. So I objected very strongly to this streaming process in the 1980s. Then in the late 90s, I had to stand up for Singaporeans again. When I saw Singaporeans fear for their jobs because of our strong foreign talent policy, I went to Parliament to ask the government to think Singaporean first. I took that pain. When I was publicly scolded for taking this stand. I felt Singaporeans' frustrations when they were refused use of their CPF savings for education and instead were only allowed to use it for the buying of stocks and shares. I won the argument, and this has allowed more opportunities for young Singaporeans to pursue their dream of a tertiary education. I felt Singaporeans' fears when government hospitals were restructured. Singaporeans worried that such new hospitals would not provide adequate C-class beds because it affected hospital revenue. Therefore, I insisted that all restructured hospitals, given government grants, must provide C-class beds, adequate C-class beds, not just C-class beds. Then for better family bonding, family and social interaction, I convinced HDB to allow free parking on Sundays and public holidays. A small cost to HDB, but a big boost for families and friends getting together. I relate these issues when I stood up for Singaporeans in the past, to give Singaporeans who do not know me a better understanding of the kind of person I am. Trust, as I said, needs to be earned, especially for the office of the President, who is the only Singaporean leader voted by all Singaporeans. I've always had Singapore's interests in mind. The last general election, I saw a disturbing trend among Singaporeans. I could feel the anger, I could feel the pain of the Singaporeans who attended all these rallies. I attended rallies in the opposition, and I felt that something was not so right. I sensed a divide among our population. I went home, I remembered that night, and I discussed with my wife, this must not happen to Singapore. We are too small to be divided. I discussed this with friends, and we also came to the same conclusion because watching the rallies, they could see that there was a sense of divide amongst our population. Can I try to mend this divide? Should I come out of my comfort zone and take on this task? Will I be accepted by all Singaporeans, irrespective of the political and individual differences? Am I so different from others?